The scent of burning toast jolts me from my concentration, and for a moment, the kitchen tilts sideways. I grip the marble countertop, willing the room to stop spinning. Something isn't right. The morning light streaming through the windows fragments into kaleidoscope patterns, and my mother-in-law's voice drifts in from somewhere behind me, though I can't make out the words. I'm Cassidy, and until 30 seconds ago, I was making breakfast like any other Sunday morning. Adam? I call out, my voice weaker than intended. The toast in the toaster continues to burn, filling the air with an acrid smell that makes my stomach lurch. Footsteps approach, but they sound distant, like they're coming from underwater. I try to turn around to face whoever's coming, but my legs won't cooperate. She's been working too hard lately. Diane's voice cuts through the fog. This might be perfect timing, actually. Mom, not now. Adam's voice, closer now. But the papers are ready. We just need her to... The rest of Diane's words fade into a buzz as my knees buckle. The floor rushes up to meet me, but strong arms catch me before impact. Adam's cologne fills my nostrils. The same scent I used to find comforting, now somehow cloying and suffocating. Cassidy, baby, can you hear me? Adam's face swims in and out of focus above me. Behind him, Diane hovers like a dark cloud, her perfectly manicured hand pressed against her chest in what looks like concern. But something in her eyes doesn't match the gesture. I'll call an ambulance, she says, but makes no move toward her phone. No, Adam replies sharply. I'll take her myself. My head lolls against his chest as he lifts me. Through the haze, I catch fragments of their continued conversation. Perfect opportunity to... While she's vulnerable, the inheritance, before she realizes. Their words float around me like poisoned butterflies, each one carrying a sting of betrayal. I want to scream, to demand answers, but my tongue feels too thick in my mouth. The world continues to spin, and darkness creeps in at the edges of my vision. Stay with me, Cass, Adam murmurs, but there's something off in his tone. Something calculated that I've never noticed before. Or maybe I've just never wanted to notice it. As consciousness slips away, I catch one final exchange. Make sure you get her to sign those papers at the hospital, Diane says. We can't afford to wait much longer. Jesus, Mom, she's barely conscious. That's exactly why it's perfect. She won't question anything. The last thing I feel before blackness claims me is Adam's grip tightening around my body. Not in protection, but in possession. And in that moment, despite the fog in my brain, one thing becomes crystal clear. The two people I should trust most in this world are plotting something. Something that involves me, my signature, and what sounds suspiciously like my inheritance from my grandmother. The darkness takes me then, but not before a small, hard kernel of anger takes root in my chest. They think they can take advantage of my vulnerability? They think I'm just going to lie here and let them steal what's rightfully mine? They have no idea what they've just started. When I wake up, if I wake up, there will be hell to pay. And I'll make sure they both get exactly what they deserve. The last coherent thought I have is that burning toast might not be the only thing going up in flames today. 3 days after my collapse, I stand in what used to be my home office, staring at boxes of Diane's belongings scattered across the hardwood floor. My art supplies have been shoved into a corner, my drafting table pushed against the wall to make room for her antique vanity. It's just temporary, darling. Diane's voice floats in from behind me, syrupy sweet. The landlord gave me no choice with that sudden eviction notice. I turn to face her, careful to keep my expression neutral. Funny how you never mentioned having problems with your apartment before? She waves a manicured hand dismissively. These things happen so suddenly. Adam agrees it's best if I stay here while I sort things out. Of course he does. I bite back the words, trying to escape my throat. The hospital diagnosed my collapse as stress-related, but they found nothing in my system. Nothing except the lingering memory of that conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. I've taken the liberty of reorganizing a few things, Diane continues, running her finger along my desk. This room was so cluttered before. The word cluttered drops between us like a stone. My fingers curl into fists at my sides, but I force them to relax. I need to speak with Adam. Oh, he's working late again. Such a dedicated boy. She picks up one of my sketches, examining it with thinly veiled distaste. You know, dear, Maybe this is a sign you should focus more on your actual job instead of these little drawings. The front door opens before I can respond. Adam's footsteps echo through the house, and Diane's face lights up like a Christmas tree. "In here, sweetheart," she calls out. Adam appears in the doorway, his tie loosened, looking exhausted. His eyes dart between us, sensing the tension. "Everything okay?" "Your wife seems upset about the new arrangements," Diane says, her voice dripping with concern. I tried explaining about the eviction, but "Can we talk?" I interrupt, looking directly at Adam. "Alone?" He hesitates, and something in that pause makes my stomach turn. "Sure, let's go to the kitchen." In the kitchen, I lean against the counter, putting distance between us. "When were you going to tell me about your mother moving in permanently?" "It's not permanent, Cass. She needs our help." "Like she needed my signature on those papers at the hospital?" The words slip out before I can stop them. Adam's face tightens. "What papers?" "The ones you and your mother were discussing while I was barely conscious." I watch his reaction carefully, noting how his left eye twitches slightly. A tell I've learned means he's lying. "You were confused," he says smoothly. "The medication, don't." My voice comes out sharper than intended. "Don't try to gaslight me, Adam. I heard you both." He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture that used to make my heart flutter. Now it just makes me wary. "Look, you're still recovering. Maybe you should take a few days off work. Rest." "In my office? The one your mother has commandeered?" "She needs the space more than you do right now." He snaps, then immediately softens his tone. "I mean, you can work anywhere with your laptop, right?" A knock at the front door interrupts us. Through the window, I spot Ryan's car in the driveway. "I invited Ryan for dinner," Adam says, already moving toward the door. "We'll talk about this later." But later never seems to come anymore. As I watch him greet his brother, I notice something odd. Ryan's usual easy smile is missing, replaced by a tightness around his eyes that mirrors my own unease. Diane sweeps into the kitchen, already taking control. "Cassidy, dear, why don't you set the table? I'll handle the cooking tonight. You're still not quite yourself." I meet Ryan's gaze across the room, and for a brief moment, something passes between us. A shared understanding, perhaps, or a warning. He quickly looks away, but not before I catch a glimpse of what might be guilt in his eyes. As I reach for the plates, my hand brushes against an unfamiliar envelope tucked behind the dish rack. Through the thin paper, I can make out what looks like a bank statement, one I've never seen before. The game they're playing is becoming clearer, but they've badly underestimated their opponent. They think I'm weak, confused, easily manipulated. They have no idea that every dismissive comment, every secretive glance, every well-meaning suggestion is just another piece of ammunition I'm collecting. Let them think they're winning. For now. The bank statement burns in my pocket as I sit in my car outside Grace's apartment. 3 hours of digging through our home office while Adam and Diane were at Sunday brunch revealed more than I bargained for. Credit card statements, loan applications, and a half-drafted letter to my grandmother's estate lawyer. Grace opens her door before I can knock. "Jesus, Cass, you look like hell." I brush past her, dropping the stack of papers on her coffee table. "They're trying to get access to my inheritance." "What?" Grace sorts through the documents, her expression darkening. "These loan applications, they're in your name." "Forged." My hands shake as I pour myself a glass of water. Adam's got gambling debts, big ones, and Diane's been enabling him, helping him cover it up. Grace holds up a document. "This is dated 3 months ago, before your grandmother passed away. They've been planning this for a while." The water glass clinks against my teeth. There's more. "I found this in Diane's room." I pull out a handwritten note, spreading it flat on the table. Grace reads aloud. "Remember, once the trust is accessed, transfer everything immediately. She can't trace it if..." The rest is torn off. A knock at Grace's door makes us both jump. Through the peephole, I see Ryan shifting nervously in the hallway. "How did he know you were here?" Grace whispers. "He didn't." I open the door, studying Ryan's face. "Did you follow me?" He steps inside, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "I needed to warn you. Mom's planning something for tonight. She's invited her lawyer over for dinner." "The same lawyer who handled my grandmother's estate?" Ryan nods, then notices the papers spread across the coffee table. His face pales. You found the loan documents. You knew? The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Not everything. Not at first. He picks up one of the credit card statements. Adam told me he needed help with some gambling debts. I lent him money, but it wasn't enough. Then Mom got involved and everything spiraled. Grace moves protectively closer to me. Why tell us now? Because... Ryan's voice cracks. Because this morning I overheard Mom talking about getting Cassidy declared mentally incompetent, using the collapse as evidence. The room tilts sideways, reminiscent of that morning in the kitchen. They can't do that. They can try. Ryan pulls out his phone, showing us a text conversation. The lawyer's bringing papers tonight. Mom's convinced Adam it's the only way to save himself from the loan sharks. A new message pops up on Ryan's screen. From Adam. Where are you? Mom's asking questions. I should go. Ryan heads for the door, then pauses. Cass, there's something else. Something about Mom and your grandmother's last days. I don't know the details, but... Another text interrupts him. His face contorts with guilt. I'll try to find out more. After he leaves, Grace grabs her laptop. We need to move fast. If they're planning to have you declared incompetent, they won't succeed. I pull out my phone, scrolling through contacts until I find the number I need. Remember my cousin Jennifer? The one who works for the state prosecutor's office? Grace's eyes widen. The one who specializes in financial fraud? Time to call in a favor. I start dialing, then stop as another text comes through. From Adam this time. Where are you? Come home. We need to talk about your health. My fingers tighten around the phone. In my mind, I see the careful way they've been laying their trap. The concerned looks, the whispered conversations, the subtle suggestions that I'm not quite right. Even my collapse plays perfectly into their narrative. But they made one crucial mistake. They underestimated how much evidence I could gather while playing the role of confused, compliant wife. Make the call, Grace says quietly. End this before they can strike first. I press dial, watching the sun set through Grace's window. By this time tomorrow, everything will change. The lawyer won't be the only one bringing important papers to dinner. Let them set their table for betrayal. I'll be serving something entirely different. Justice, cold, and carefully prepared. The lawyer's business card sits on my kitchen counter like a loaded gun. Marcus Henderson, estate law specialist. I've seen his signature before. On my grandmother's will, on trust documents, on papers I apparently signed in the hospital but can't remember. Diane hums while preparing dinner, the sound grating against my nerves like sandpaper. Marcus is such a dear friend of the family, she says, checking the oven. So concerned about your health. I maintain my facade of docile compliance while typing a message to Jennifer. Documents received. Meeting tomorrow? The reply comes instantly. Bring everything. This is worse than we thought. Cassidy? Diane's voice sharpens. Are you listening, dear? Sorry, just feeling a bit... I let my voice trail off, watching her eyes light up with predatory interest. Oh, you poor thing. Should I call Adam? Maybe we should postpone. No. I force a weak smile. I'm fine. The doorbell rings. Ryan enters first, followed by Adam and a silver-haired man I recognize from my grandmother's funeral. Marcus Henderson's handshake is firm, his smile practiced. Cassidy, you're looking... He pauses deliberately. Well, considering. Dinner becomes a masterclass in subtle manipulation. Every time I speak, someone interrupts or redirects. Every movement I make draws concerned glances. They're building their case brick by brick. Remember that gallery opening last month? Diane says to Marcus. Poor Cassidy got so confused about the date. Showed up a day early. That never happened. And the incident with the stove, Adam adds, not meeting my eyes. If Mom hadn't been here? That's new too. I stay quiet, playing my role while rage burns in my chest. Under the table, I press record on my phone. Perhaps we should discuss why I'm here, Marcus says finally, reaching for his briefcase. A knock at the door freezes everyone. Ryan jumps up to answer it, returning with a confused expression. It's for you, Cassidy. Someone about grandmother's estate? The room temperature drops 10 degrees. In walks Sarah Chen, my grandmother's former nurse, clutching a manila envelope. "I'm sorry to interrupt dinner," she says, her voice steady. "But this couldn't wait." Diane stands abruptly. "This is a private family matter. It's about Mrs. Miller's last days," Sarah continues, addressing me directly. "And the changes to her medication schedule." Adam's fork clatters against his plate. Marcus Henderson's professional mask slips for just a moment. "What changes?" I ask, watching Diane's face. "The ones your mother-in-law insisted on," Sarah says, against doctor's orders. The silence that follows is deafening. Ryan looks like he might be sick. "That's quite enough," Marcus starts, but Sarah places the envelope on the table. "There's more," she says. "About the night Mrs. Miller signed the final amendment to her will, when she was supposedly lucid." Diane laughs, but it sounds hollow. "This is ridiculous. Adam, show this woman out. Let her finish." My voice doesn't waver. "I kept copies of everything," Sarah continues. "The original medication logs, the security footage from that night, Mrs. Miller's last recorded conversation with me. She was very specific about her concerns regarding certain family members." Marcus Henderson closes his briefcase. "Perhaps we should reschedule this evening's discussion." "No," I say, standing. "I think we should continue. In fact, I have some documents of my own to share. Ryan, would you mind calling Grace? She should be here with those loan applications right about now." The look that passes between Adam and his mother confirms everything. Their carefully constructed plan is unraveling, and for the first time, I see real fear in Diane's eyes. "You've been busy," she says coldly. "You have no idea." I turn to Sarah. "Please, sit down. I believe we're about to have a very interesting conversation about my grandmother's estate, and about justice." The recording app on my phone continues to run, capturing every damning word, every revealing silence. By dessert, I suspect, we'll have enough evidence to destroy more than just dinner. Grace spreads the surveillance photos across her dining room table while Jennifer examines Sarah Chen's documents. The images show Diane entering my grandmother's hospital room at unusual hours, Marcus Henderson lurking in hallways, whispered conversations that shouldn't have happened. "The medication logs don't match the hospital records," Jennifer says, comparing documents. "Someone altered the original copies." My phone buzzes. Another message from Adam. "We need to talk. Please come home." "He's called 6 times since last night," I say, silencing the phone. Diane's gone completely silent. They're scrambling. Grace points to a photo timestamp. "Look, this was taken 3 hours before your grandmother's final will signing. Diane wasn't supposed to be anywhere near her room that night." A knock at the door makes us all freeze. Ryan stands outside looking haunted. "You need to see this." He pulls out his phone, playing a video. It's Diane, pacing in their family kitchen, speaking to someone off camera. "Doesn't matter what that nurse says. Once we get control of the trust, Cassidy won't be able to prove anything. Adam's handled the other loose ends." The video ends abruptly. "Mom caught me recording," Ryan explains. "But there's more. I found these in her personal email." He hands me a stack of printouts. Emails between Diane and Marcus Henderson dating back months before my grandmother's death. Plans within plans. My hands shake as I read their calculated destruction of my life. "This is enough for criminal charges," Jennifer says quietly. "Wait." Grace holds up one of the surveillance photos. "Who's that with Marcus?" I lean closer, studying the blurry figure. The realization hits like a punch to the gut. That's Dr. Phillips, my grandmother's primary physician. "The one who certified her mental state before the will signing," Jennifer confirms. My phone rings again. This time it's an unknown number. When I answer, Sarah Chen's voice comes through, breathless and urgent. "They're at my apartment. Diane and some man I don't recognize. They're demanding the original recordings." "Don't give them anything," I say. "We're calling the police." "There's something else," Sarah continues. "Something I remembered about that night. Your grandmother wasn't just worried about the will. She mentioned a safety deposit box. Said if anything happened to her, you needed to find it before—" The line goes dead. "Sarah?" My voice echoes in the sudden silence. "Sarah!" Ryan's phone pings with a text. His face drains of color as he reads it. Mom knows I helped you. She's threatening to reveal something about Dad's death. Says it'll destroy what's left of our family. What about your father? Grace asks. He didn't die in an accident, Ryan whispers. But I never knew the whole story. Mom always said she was protecting us by keeping it quiet. Jennifer starts gathering the documents. We need to move fast. If they're already threatening witnesses... Another text lights up Ryan's phone. Final warning, stop helping her or everyone learns the truth about that night. I stare at the message, something clicking into place. Your father's death, my grandmother's safety deposit box, the timing of the will changes. They're all connected, aren't they? Ryan nods slowly. Mom always said Dad's death broke her. Made her desperate to protect us at any cost. But lately I've been remembering things. Conversations I overheard as a kid. Dad was looking into something. Something about the family business. Which bank? I interrupt. Where's your father's safety deposit box? First National, downtown. Same place Mom keeps all her important papers. Why? I grab my keys. Because that's where my grandmother's box would be too. And I bet anything that's what they're really after. Whatever evidence is hidden in those boxes. Grace catches my arm. Cassidy, wait. If you're right, this is bigger than just the inheritance. These people have already shown they're willing to do anything to protect their secrets. Exactly. I pull free, determination replacing fear. Which is why we're going to beat them to it. Ryan, you still have your key to your mom's box? He pulls out his key ring, hands shaking. We have to hurry. The bank closes in an hour. Then let's go find out what's worth killing for. The safety deposit box key trembles in my hand as Adam's voice echoes through the bank lobby. Cassidy, stop. Ryan grabs my arm, pulling me toward the vault entrance. We don't have time, but Adam reaches us before the bank manager can unlock the door. His face is twisted with desperation, a look I've never seen before. You don't understand what you're doing. I understand perfectly. My voice sounds foreign to my own ears. Did you think I wouldn't figure it out? The forged documents, grandmother's medication, your father's death? The bank manager shifts uncomfortably. Perhaps we should show them. Diane's voice cuts through the tension as she strides into the lobby, Marcus Henderson at her side. She holds up her phone, displaying a video. Show them what really happened that night. The footage is grainy, security camera quality. I recognize Ryan's father in his office, arguing with someone. The timestamp shows 2:15 a.m. Your grandmother was there that night. Diane says, her voice eerily calm. She discovered what Robert was planning to expose about the family business, about the missing funds, the forged artwork. Turn it off, Ryan whispers. Watch, Diane commands. The video shows Robert Thompson falling, hitting his head on the desk corner. My grandmother rushing to help, panic visible even in the poor quality footage. An accident, Diane continues. But your grandmother convinced me to cover it up, to protect the family name. And now you're about to destroy everything we sacrificed to preserve. The bank manager clears his throat. I need to ask you all to... Open the box, I interrupt, holding out my key with a steady hand. Now. Cassidy, Adam pleads. Think about what you're doing. If this gets out... You mean if people learn how you've been selling forged artwork through the gallery? Using my designs to create counterfeits? His face pales. How did you... I found the files on your laptop. The correspondence with the buyers. Did you think I wouldn't recognize my own work? Diane steps closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. Everything I did was to protect my family. Your grandmother understood that in the end. Why do you think she changed her will? Because you threatened her, Ryan says suddenly. I remember now. I overheard you that night, telling her what would happen if she didn't play along. The bank manager finally moves toward the vault. Last chance to access the boxes before closing. I follow him, aware of the heavy silence behind me. Inside the vault, 2 boxes lay before us, my grandmother's and Robert Thompson's. As I insert the key into the first lock, Adam's hand covers mine. Please, he says softly. We can start over. Forget all of this. I meet his eyes, searching for any trace of the man I married. That's the difference between us, Adam. I can't forget. I won't. The box opens with a click. Inside, I find a USB drive, a handwritten letter, and a series of photographs. But before I can reach for them, an alarm blares through the building. Fire alarm. The manager announces. We need to evacuate immediately. Diane moves with surprising speed, snatching the USB drive. Adam grabs the photos. In the chaos of the evacuation, I clutch only the letter to my chest as security guards usher us toward the exits. Outside, smoke pours from a trash can near the bank's entrance, a deliberate distraction. I watch helplessly as Diane and Adam disappear into the crowd with the evidence, leaving me with nothing but a single letter and the crushing weight of failure. Ryan stands beside me, his face ashen. I'm sorry. I should have remembered sooner. Should have helped you. It's not over, I say, unfolding my grandmother's letter with shaking hands. They got the USB drive and photos, but they don't know what's in this letter. And they don't know about Sarah Chen's recordings. But as I read the first lines of the letter, my heart stops. The truth is far worse than I imagined. And suddenly I understand why Diane was willing to go to such lengths to keep it hidden. The question now isn't just about justice or revenge. It's about survival. Grace's living room feels too small for the weight of what we're about to do. Sarah Chen's recordings play through the speaker, filling the space with Diane's own voice. Just like Robert, she wouldn't listen. Some accidents are necessary. I check my phone, 7:58 p.m. In 2 minutes, the email containing everything, the letter, Sarah's recordings, the evidence of art forgery, will automatically send to the FBI's art crime team, the local police, and 3 major news outlets. The doorbell rings. Right on time. Grace mutters, moving to answer it. Diane sweeps in first, followed by Adam and Marcus Henderson. Their confidence falters when they spot Jennifer, her prosecutor's badge gleaming on her belt. Family meeting? Diane's smile doesn't reach her eyes. How lovely. Sit down, I say, pointing to the couch. You'll want to hear this. Adam steps forward instead. Whatever you think you know, I press play on Sarah's second recording. My grandmother's voice fills the room. I know what you did to Robert. I have proof. Diane's face hardens. Turn that off. The forgeries were clever, I continue, pulling out copies of Adam's correspondence with art buyers. Using my designs to create counterfeits, mixing them with legitimate pieces through the gallery. But grandmother figured it out, didn't she? Just like Robert did. You don't understand, Adam pleads. The gambling debts were just the beginning. Ryan interrupts, emerging from the hallway. Mom wasn't protecting us. She was protecting herself. Diane's composure cracks. Everything I did was for this family. Like having Robert killed? The words hang in the air like smoke. The letter explains everything. How you arranged the accident when he discovered your original forgery scheme. How you threatened grandmother when she found proof. Lies, Diane hisses, but her hands shake. The USB drive you stole? I smile coldly. Decoy. The real one's been in FBI custody since this morning, along with grandmother's actual letter and photos. Adam collapses onto the couch, head in his hands. Jesus Christ, Mom, what did you do? What I had to. Diane's voice rises hysterically. Robert would have destroyed us. Your grandmother, too. They were weak, sentimental fools who had integrity. Ryan's voice breaks. Who refused to be part of your schemes. Marcus Henderson moves toward the door, but Jennifer blocks his path. Going somewhere, counselor? The FBI would love to discuss your role in all this. 1 minute, Grace announces, checking her phone. Diane's eyes dart around the room, calculating. Whatever you think you have, it won't hold up. Marcus will... Already made a deal, Jennifer interrupts. Turns out he kept his own insurance policy. Very detailed records. Adam stands suddenly. We can fix this. Cassidy, please. For what we had was a lie. I hold up my phone. In 30 seconds, everything goes public. Unless what? Diane demands. Confess. To everything. Robert's death, the forgeries, grandmother's manipulation. Sign the statements Jennifer has prepared. Or what? You'll destroy this family? You already did that. Ryan says quietly. We're just exposing the truth. 10 seconds. Grace counts down. Diane lunges for my phone, but I'm ready. As we grapple, Sarah's final recording plays, the sound of Diane threatening my grandmother, admitting to Robert's murder, laying out the whole scheme. The timestamp hits 8:00 p.m. Too late, I say, stepping back. It's done. Diane's face contorts with fury, then crumples in defeat as police sirens wail in the distance. Adam slumps against the wall while Ryan moves to stand beside me. You could have had everything, Diane whispers. If you'd just played along, taken the money. I chose truth instead. I meet her eyes steadily. Something you never understood. As the police burst through the door, I watch my mother-in-law's empire crumble. The woman who orchestrated death, manipulated lives, and thought herself untouchable finally faces the one thing she can't control: consequences. Adam catches my eye one last time as they're led away. I'm sorry, he mouths, but sorry isn't enough. Not for Robert. Not for my grandmother. Not for the years of lies and manipulation. Sometimes justice is the best revenge. The gallery walls gleam under soft lighting as I hang the final piece, a stark, angular composition that speaks of broken trust and renewal. My first solo exhibition, Family Portraits, opens tomorrow, each work telling a piece of our story without saying a word. Ryan helps me adjust the lighting, his movements careful and deliberate. Have you seen the news? Mom's plea deal went through. I nod, stepping back to study the arrangement. 20 years, less than she deserves. Adam took the full 10. He adds quietly, refused to testify against her in the end. Some loyalties die harder than others. I move to the centerpiece of the exhibition, a triptych featuring a burning house, its reflection in water showing something beautiful rising from the ashes. The art critics will see technical skill, bold choices, emotional depth, but only a few will recognize the true story hidden in the brushstrokes. Sarah Chen appears at the gallery entrance looking stronger than the last time I saw her. It's perfect, she says, studying the triptych. Your grandmother would have loved it. She always said art reveals what words can't. I touch the frame gently. I never understood what she meant until now. Grace arrives with coffee and contracts. The gallery is mine now, purchased with the recovered funds from Diane's scheme. The FBI's art crime team helped track down most of the forged pieces, though some remain lost in private collections, silent witnesses to years of deception. The insurance company called again, Grace says, handing me a latte. They want to know if you'll consult on other art fraud cases. Maybe. I sip the coffee, watching Ryan sketch in his notebook. He's gotten good over the past few months, finding his own artistic voice amid the wreckage of our family's collapse. After the exhibition opens, Jennifer joins us, her prosecutor's badge replaced by casual clothes. Just heard from my contact at the bureau. They found another storage unit in Diane's name. More evidence, more forged artwork. Let someone else handle it, I say, surprising myself with how much I mean it. I'm done looking backward. Ryan closes his notebook, revealing a detailed sketch of the gallery space, transformed into something new. I've been thinking, he says hesitantly, about turning the back room into a studio space. For classes, maybe. Help other people find their voice through art. The idea settles something inside me. Dad would have liked that. Yeah, he smiles. He would have. As the others move through the gallery, discussing final arrangements for tomorrow's opening, I stand before a small piece tucked in an alcove. It's different from the others, softer, more abstract. A study in forgiveness, though not the kind that forgets. A familiar silhouette appears in the doorway. Adam's father's brother, Thomas, who testified against Diane despite years of silence. He takes in the exhibition with knowing eyes. You've turned poison into medicine, he says simply. Truth makes better art than lies, I reply. He nods toward Ryan's sketching figure. Some things break apart to come back stronger. The evening light streams through the gallery windows, casting long shadows that dance across my paintings. Each canvas holds a piece of our story. The betrayal, the fight for justice, the cost of truth. But they also show something else. Something I didn't plan. The power of choosing who we become after everything falls apart. Grace calls us all together for a final walkthrough. Tomorrow, these walls will echo with visitors' voices, critics' opinions, the buzz of public scrutiny. But tonight belongs to us, the ones who lived this story, who chose truth over comfort, justice over loyalty, growth over vengeance. Ryan shows me his completed sketch. Our father's old studio reimagined as a space for healing through art. In the corner, he's drawn a small figure painting at an easel, face turned toward the light. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying what hurt you. Sometimes it's about creating something beautiful from the ruins, something entirely your own. The gallery keys feel warm in my palm as I lock up for the night. Tomorrow, we open a new chapter. But tonight, in the quiet, I finally understand what my grandmother meant about art and truth. Some stories can only be told in color and shadow, in the spaces between what was lost and what was found.